Life is better with you.
Hey guys, I'm Brian,
And I'm Allison.
and this is.
Our life in front of the bleachers.
So we live a pretty stressful life, at least 6 months out of the year, but most times it's a year-long venture, and the stress doesn't just subside when the last whistle blows in the last game. There's lots of things to stress about, and many times both of our jobs keep us a little bit more stagnant than we'd want to, whether it be behind a computer screen or whether it be, driving places to get kids places or to get ourselves where we have to be for our jobs. It just seems as if it's just more sedentary than it needs to be. So with that usually comes quick meals, typically at odd hours, especially during the fall, during football season, because, for the most part, we rarely were able to eat together at a normal, reasonable hour. And most times I was eating leftovers or whatever you had put into the oven or the refrigerator for me when I got home.
Yeah. And then most of the time, so on Thursdays and Fridays, when the kids were little or even when they were in high school and everything, we were picking up something on the way to a game.
Well, you hurt us, but you helped us a good bit because you used to always seek out the new Chick-fil-A's. Whenever a Chick-fil-A was going to come into town, you would take on a new venture.
Well, I figured, I wasn't working, so at least I could, you know.
Well, I mean, camping out at Chick-fil-A, what was it, the top first 100 people
First
there?
100, but you have to be on site, the first 100 on site within a 24-hour period of it opening. And then you have to stay on site until the next morning when you go through and they open it up to the first 100 and hand you a box of 52 Chick-fil-A meals.
So it's supposed to be a year's supply.
Coupons.
You would think one of those would do, but no, you've stopped at no more than 4, I think you've done.
No.
You've done 4 different times, have you not?
No.
4 different Chick-fil-A's.
No, I think it's 3.
Okay, that makes it so much better. 3 years worth of Chick-fil-A meals.
I'll do 4.
Well, I know for our kids after practice, our own sons, that was like, okay, let's stop because it's late and we're coming back from a game or something and they're hungry. We just stop there. That saved us a lot of money. But, the lifestyle again does not lead to very healthy habits at times. And that on top of stress, many times we would go through a lot of weight fluctuations. During the season, early on, typically I would lose some weight. But as the season would go on and my winter coat was needed as it would get colder,
The chocolate cake.
the chocolate cake. So that's our fault for winning. Is that what you're saying? Well, we would put on a good bit of weight. So this past year, in the spring, I had put on my winter coat and it wouldn't shed. And I just, felt kind of lethargic, felt like I wasn't exactly where I needed to be. And we were going into spring break. And I remember it was April the 1st. And I jumped on that scale. First time I'd been on it in a while because I was afraid of what it was going to look like. But you're very hopeful. When you jump on there, you're like, it's not as bad as you think. So I'm
But
thinking,
I'll be okay if I'm at this weight.
I'll be okay if I don't get on the scale. That was the thing. And then when I got on the scale and, it was a digital scale and it said 224.1, I was like, oh, my laundry. I'm 5'10". I can't hold 224 and I can't lift anymore. Not like I did before because I had shoulder surgery. So just the ability to put on muscle mass rather than fat, it wasn't muscle. It was not good weight. So at that point in time, I vowed to myself, we were getting ready to go to spring break. I said, I'm going to start something. I got to do something. And I'd heard 1,000 different diets. And I tried to get you to do the same, but you're like, I'm not listening to you.
Well, my winter could have been on a little bit longer, and I'm at that age where it's a little harder.
What age is that?
Old.
Old? I don't think you're a spring chicken. I wouldn't stay married to an old woman. Well, either way, I mean, so
So I had
you struggle.
I struggle with my own issues, with just being a woman and that age. But then before that, just the stress, crazy enough, of his job and then my job on top of that. And yes, his job is stressful for the family at times. So, yes, I did gain a little bit of weight. And COVID did not help, where we were trying to perfect that pizza crust.
That wasn't me.
That was me
Oh, it
and the
wasn't me.
boys.
Yeah. Well, I typically didn't like eating a lot of bread as it
No,
was, and
he's
there
a
were.
very healthy eater.
I wouldn't say I was healthy. You don't get to 224
You're
and
healthier
fat.
than I am.
Well, no, not at that time. My problem was overindulgence. When I did find the food I liked, I ate a bunch of it. It wasn't as if I'm gonna go take one serving. It was multiple servings. So it was sometimes stress eating, sometimes where you just trying to get your mind off of something else and you just keep going back and forth to the kitchen, or you're eating on the run and those foods are not very good for you. So I started doing my research on various ways that I thought that it would work for me and hopefully us, but I could never sell you. I was an awful salesman when it came to diet, but
I don't hear what he says when it comes to a diet.
no, especially when it
It's
says
not that I don't trust you.
it's just you didn't want to give up sugar. You love some sugar, whether it
I
be in your
do.
coffee, whether it be
You're
anything
right.
that you're eating,
I am.
breads. You grew up as a bread
I,
woman.
I grew up in
The
a
North.
north, so pastas and good Italian breads. Mm, mm, mm.
Well, we don't have all those, but you'll certainly go seek them out many
Well, I got
times.
to find the right one down here.
And you have. And unfortunately, Wawa's coming to town soon, so we
So I've
probably.
got to get ready.
She's a Wawa girl. But no, she put an inordinate amount of sugar in things, and I was trying to pay attention to the things that maybe, I was doing, even the occasional snack that would come as a form of crackers or chips or something. I just didn't want it, but it was here and it was quick and easy and it wasn't good for us. So I felt as though I just kept fighting that constant battle. I would go up and then I'd go down. I'd go right back up again. It was just kind of a binge and purge type deal. Every other week I'd drop down to below 210 and celebrate myself, and then sure as shooting, I'm right back in the teens again. So it was at one point in time, I said, you know what, I need to really focus on my protein consumption. So we've had a lot of people reach out to us and say, what have you guys done? Because I'm now 181 pounds,
And only
181.8.
5.5 months.
Yeah, less than 6 months, but I wasn't starving. There was nothing that I did doing this. Now, the first 2 weeks that I tried it, I didn't lose any weight. And I felt like, well, this is kind of weird and insignificant. But I think a lot of it had to do with when you finally said, I'm going to buy in, I'm going to do the same.
And I slowly, after May, when I had hit a weight that I just did not want to be at, and I'm not going to tell anybody my weight, but
She won't even tell me.
no, um, but it was, I did not want to be there, and I could feel it in my body, and I had, this is a conversation I've had with my doctor over the years, and what do we do, and we've tried stuff, and it just, she doesn't understand why things wouldn't work. And I did try it. I did, but it just wasn't working for me. So when June hit, I think at that point in time I was just like, I gotta, I don't know what it
Well,
was.
by that point, you were seeing it on me because I
I
had gotten
was,
to
and I was
200.
like, okay, well maybe I should try it. And it was a soft commit at that point in
Kind of
time.
like our marriage. Is that what you were, a little soft commit?
Maybe. Um, and then by the end of June,
It started
I
slowing.
started to go ahead and say, okay, I think I'm all in.
So
with
most of
this
what
now.
we were researching, or at least I was, and sending you inordinate amounts of articles and videos and everything else, was related to keto, going on in a ketosis, and then carnivore, meat, consuming all the meats, the consumption of meat and proteins and eggs. That's where it started. So I went ahead and said, all right, let's do this. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to get as healthy of meats and eggs and everything that I can. It is more expensive, but when it came down to it, as little as I was really eating, it really
It
was
balanced out a little
at the
bit.
very least balanced out. We probably ended up saving some money because the eggs were almost twice as expensive.
The
But
butter.
the butter, the grass-fed butter was about twice as expensive, but it's real butter, and it's really good tasting. I could almost eat spoonfuls of it. The other part, whatever. The other
I
thing,
like butter though on bread.
so we would go to Costco, we'd get these eggs, and they're blue eggs, and they're free range chicken eggs. So I immediately could tell a difference, even when you just the consistency of it, the color of it, everything's just different. And then salt, I would get Celtic salt. I got Celtic salt from the only place I could find it was Publix. So we went to Publix and we got Celtic salt. I don't cook with it, but I put on the things after it's cooked. Um, but the eggs themselves, and I would put the cheese. Now we did start with some processed cheese, but more recently we've gone to Irish cheese, real cheese,
Grass fed.
grass fed cheddar, and it's really good. It tastes really, really good and adds a different component to it. But I'll eat those eggs, and occasionally we'll put sausage or bacon. I'm not a pork fan. It hasn't done me right for the most part, but every now and again I do want some extra protein. And that with black coffee is pretty much my breakfast. And I don't know how it served you well because sometimes you would just skip breakfast, but I try not to skip that. And then my lunch consists of 6 to 8 dried dates, which I also got from Costco. And they were about $7 for a bag. And I can go, that bag will last me at least 2 or 3 weeks. And then, 6 to 8 dates, and then a handful of pepita seeds, pumpkin seeds that we got from Aldi. And I think they're less than $3. So, or around $3, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mistaken. So between those two, you're looking at $10 for my lunch slash snacks.
For a couple
Then
weeks.
that'll last me a couple weeks. So
And
the
that's just during the weekday, because on weekends it's a little.
well, the eggs, even if you go back to
I,
breakfast, they're not
but I'm
that
talking
expensive.
about the just we do eat on the weekend. Not we stay with the diet, but we do eat a lunch.
Well, what I've found is I'm not as hungry because I'm eating so much, fat, but I am eating the protein. And I was quite concerned with all the fat that I was consuming and everything that when I went to the doctor in July, I was like, uh-oh, I've lost some weight. And the first thing he said, how'd you do it? And I said, I stopped listening to you. You told me not to eat red meat. You told me not to eat this other stuff. He's like, well, that's a good idea. So I said, yep, it has been good for me. And my
And your
numbers,
numbers
my
came
numbers came back the best they've been in a decade. So I can't speak to it long term. I can speak to it on a 5 to 6 month basis that I think it has had some benefits. But I wanted to get to my ideal weight. And then I think we're getting close to that if I hadn't already surpassed it. So I'd like to stay there and put on some muscle. But, once I get through with that midday snack or lunch, whatever we'd say, I wouldn't eat again until we came home. And then you would fix because Food Line has really good deals, and it's not necessarily the best beef. It's not that we know exactly that it's the you know
it's not, yeah.
non-antibiotic. We don't know all that, but it has worked well enough for us. Whether it be hamburger, whether it be steak, whether it be chicken, whether it be fish. I do like smoking salmon. I do like eating that. I know you're not as big a fan. But then the occasional lamb chops. Lamb chops don't seem to be that expensive. Uh,
At Costco,
per
yeah.
yeah per chop. If I can get 12 chops for $12, it's about $1 a chop, so that's not too bad. And I'll cook 2 or 3 of those if necessary for dinner. And then on occasion, maybe 2 to 3 times a week at most, I'm gonna eat a bowl full of berries. And the three blend berry mix that I've gotten from Costco is the most flavorful to me. And I drizzle some honey on it. And people are like, well, you can't put all that sugar.
But it's a natural sugar.
Well, I mean, everybody can say everything's natural, but for me, it was like, okay, you're doing this. This is why we're calling it DAVISVORE, because there ain't no carnivore diet says you can eat dates. You're not really supposed to eat the seeds. You're not supposed to eat all the other stuff and sugars. And occasionally, I'm gonna get, especially when it was really hot, I'm gonna drink a liquid IV. Most of them don't have sugar, but there are a couple that had the caffeine that had some sugar in it. So eventually, I said, well, I don't want to consume those because of the sugar. So I went ahead and bought
Sugar
caffeine
free.
pills. Well, we had
Oh,
sugar free, but I bought the caffeine pills just so I could do that instead of feeling like I needed a caffeine boost. But that's been pretty much it as far as it goes. And then I can eat like when you cook those steak kebabs or whatever. What is
yeah,
it?
they're the sirloin. kebabs from
Food line.
Food Line, and they come 8 in a pack,
But
and
they're
we
so tender
just
and they're so yummy. And then,
yeah,
you
that's
just
fine.
put it in
We can get 2
avocado oil,
meals
which
out
I'd
of
rather
that.
not have. But the Wagyu tallow that we've gotten from Sam's,
Gives it a lot of
it
flavor.
does. So it's $20 for a canister of that, and that's lasted us at least 2 months now.
Hmm.
So that goes along with dinner every night. Sometimes, and many times, I'll put it in my eggs as the base. There's the fat that I would use to line the pan. But I think overall, there's a lot of fat consumption in this diet. There's a lot of meat fats, but I don't feel as hungry. And the first couple of weeks, nothing happened. And then it was just like overnight, boom, all of a sudden I lost 3 or 4 pounds. I wasn't hungry, but I still forced myself to eat an egg or two that day, I recall. And then I didn't eat again until dinner. And then the next day I dropped another pound, and it just kept coming off and off and off. Now, I will say I average between 10 and 15,000 steps a day. Sometimes as many as 20 to 25, but I don't know how much that really does. But I know
Now
I'm not
I
sedentary.
do not.
Mm.
I do. I'm more sedentary in my job, and so I am struggling some days to get to at least 5,000 steps or 6,000 steps.
But you still lost significant
But
amounts
I
of weight.
still have almost lost 30 pounds um,
Yeah.
from, you know, I say since the beginning of June, but really I committed more to it with the no sugar, like getting the sugar-free creamer because I like my coffee with creamer. I don't like it black, and I get the sugar-free creamer, and I mix that with the
Heavy whipping
heavy
cream.
whipping cream because it doesn't have any sugar in it.
Well, I'll just put some heavy whipping cream in it, and it's just fine to me. So I'm fine
So
with it.
for me, I do tuna fish. I do egg salad a lot.
All this in your coffee?
Hmm.
That's yummy.
I know.
Mm,
That's gross.
I know. Why would you
No,
suggest a thing?
but
These
that's what
people
I
are
have. But mine's
impressionable.
a little bit different than yours. And
Hmm.
then I have done, which I love my cheesesteaks. I have done the sirloin cheesesteak with peppers and onions and mushrooms on lettuce. So no bread, but at least it gives me the flavoring that I want.
Yeah, I don't know that I've had bread of any sort now since before April 1st. So
I've had one slice of pizza and a pinch of chocolate cake. But that's your fault for leaving the cake in the refrigerator on a Friday when I saw it.
yeah, that's my fault.
Well, it was there.
I didn't bake it. So let's go to the source.
Well, I did. You won, so I had to make it. So you are the source.
Always my
So
fault.
anyway, so my diet does look a little bit different, and I like cheese, so I'll do like lunch meat with some cheese roll ups. You don't do so much lunch meat, but I'll do like turkey
Yeah, I'm not a big
or
fan of the
chicken.
lunch meats because they've been processed so much, and I can taste the difference. It's either going to be, raw meat that I'm cooking or I don't want eating it. So
Yeah.
I have added, over the last month, um, at least once every 2 weeks, I'm going through an 18 to 24-hour fast. So I'm not eating anything. I'll eat dinner, and I'm not eating again until the next dinner. So I'll drink water, but that's it throughout the course of the day. So I think that kind of helps reset a little bit, but I'm not hungry. It's just
No,
like, and I guess that's bad on some fronts because at some point you got to be like, hey, you got to eat something. You're getting too scrawny. That's what you tell me. So now the whole thought is, let's see if I can, get back in shape and lift a little bit more and see if I can. My shoulder does feel better than it's ever felt.
and
I
my
will
knee
say that.
feels good
Yeah, I
because I
think,
had knee surgery last year,
yeah,
and struggled with that. And
I had torn labrum and I had those anchors put in there and I had the bone spurs and everything and that shoulder removed and I could barely move, but I'm telling you, it's a lot better. And then you could barely straighten your leg
I couldn't,
just a
and the
couple months ago.
swelling looks like it's down now too. So
Yeah.
it really has helped for us. Um, so, and it is, like I said, I had gone several years where I was talking with my doctor every few months to just try and figure something out. And um, couldn't figure it out where I'd lose like a pound in a couple months and really nothing would give. Um, but this has, and now where I think I'm to the point where I know I always complain that I can't eat French fries.
That is the one thing you always, it's those McDonald billboards that get you every time through,
Yes,
or some
they
of
look
those
so
places you can
good.
smell the French fries.
No, it looks good, but honestly, I don't think I would I'd be afraid what it one would do to my stomach, but two, like
Well, see, that's
I
the
don't
other
want to
thing.
give that up. I'm a
My whole left side was in so much pain many times. If I ate rice, if I ate pasta, bread, anything that was almost sugar, like it was constantly in pain.
yeah.
And now I don't feel that at all. And you said you felt so
I
much.
don't. Yeah, I had just been in the summer for scans for they were trying to find kidney stones or what was causing my pain, um, and they didn't find anything on that side. And I'm like, there's I don't know what's going on, and I don't have it anymore after I've really committed to this.
Well,
So
we're all addicted to sugar in our society. If we can somehow get through those first 2 weeks and don't do it, that's been my, my
yeah, I
thoughts.
think
Once I
it.
got through the 2 week barrier, it's like, okay, I feel it. My body's feeling better and it's starting to lose it. So you're going to have to sacrifice. And it's going to be, I know there's chocolate, there's all these other things that are out there. It was a mean of self discipline. You just had to be like, I can't let this go. And now we've gone so long. It's like we'll kind of tease with each other. What's your cheat?
What's your cheat?
What's your cheat? If you were going to cheat and you were going to go eat, break this diet, what is it?
We know
I don't know
it's right
anymore.
down the road here in our neighborhood.
Those French fries
Those
are
French
good.
fries are so good
Oh, they are.
because they have the
But that's
sale.
still not my.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, that's still not my cheat. I don't know what
Yeah,
my
I don't
cheat
even
is.
know what my cheat would be. Now I did have a slice of pizza.
On
Almost.
my aunt's birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a couple months ago or a
Hey,
month and a
Aunt
half
B.
ago.
Hi, Aunt B.
And but other than that, I stuck to one slice and that was it. But honestly, I'll joke with you that I want stuff, but really, I think it took me 3 weeks before I really stopped craving it and thinking, no, I don't need it. I
Well, I
really don't
remember we
need
went
it.
down there one time to listen to a band, and you're like, I was so amazed that we went down there and you didn't get the French fries. I was like, no, I didn't care to. They smelled awesome, but it was just like it.
Because every other time we went down there, you're like, nom 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 nom
Well,
nom
I
nom
had
nom
been
nom.
doing well all week. Why not? It was like my reward. I think that's bad too. The idea that, okay, I was great all week, so let me go ahead and punish myself by rewarding myself, or
Yeah,
vice versa. That's silly. So I don't know how
no.
to overcome that other than saying you got to have some good positive self talk that tells you, at this point in time, you have to be more disciplined and say, no, this ain't going to work. So I don't know how long this is going to last, nor do I know how long that we're going to be on this diet. But for
Thanksgiving and Christmas is coming.
well, there's still only meats. I mean, we've done some meats on
Meats.
meatsas for Thanksgiving before, and I know that was so disheartening
What
for
about
you,
the
but the boys loved
cookies?
it. The cookies. Cookies at Thanksgiving? What the heck? Pie.
Snickerdoodle cookies.
No.
No, fruit does not belong in a dessert.
Oh, my
Sorry.
laundry. How did we ever get married? I don't understand. That is the best. Blackberry cobbler,
And I'll do blackberry with ice cream
apple pies,
with caramel.
peach, cherry pies. Those are, so yummy. I
Peach
can't,
cobbler's okay, but only during the summer.
uh,
And it's got to have a lot of sugar.
no, no, no. That's not going to work for me.
But I
I
am trying to look more into like how to make ice cream without the sugar just so I can at least get that sweet.
Well, there is one sugar thing that we have both done, and I recognize that when I eat it, my uh, my sugar levels go
Oh,
up tremendously, and I'm starving
yeah.
after I eat it. But I think it's as a diuretic, maybe it helps a little bit.
It's
But that's
watermelon.
watermelon, and I can't eat but so much of that because if I do, it gives me the sugar shakes. But beyond
That's
that,
not
I'm about to
exciting sugar
starve.
to me.
Well, it's pretty good after you hadn't had any, that's for sure. But I'm a watermelon guy, but we're out of that season now, I believe. So we're not going to see too much more watermelon as we get into the fall and into winter. But, well, that's our DAVISVORE diet. People all, what did you put? What did you get? What are you doing? I'm
Really?
not exercising anymore. I'm doing the same as I've always done. I'm just eating meat and eating, eggs and cheese and the occasional date that has some fiber in it. It does have some sugar, but it's natural. And then
And we stick to meals. It's not like we
oh, I do
snack
eat,
on this stuff.
and people said not do this, but I read too that for parasites, the pepitas were good for parasites, but also carrots, raw carrots, not where you get the little baby carrots, but
No,
the
it's a real
regular.
carrot.
And then I would dip that in palmetto cheese, the jalapeno stuff, and I would eat that. And it also helps that your dog's barking at you. Not too many dogs love carrots the way the captain loves carrots. He loves carrots. Now Todd, the other one, not so much. He's not a carrot fan. But if I'm going anywhere near the refrigerator, Captain is certainly begging for some
Peeking in
carrots. If it's not pizza, it's
the.
carrots. He's the weirdest dog. It's pizza and carrots. I get the pizza part, but the carrots for a
He's starting
dog?
to like watermelon.
Not as much though. But either way, that's our DAVISVORE diet, and I think it's been good for us, and hopefully it continues on. If you got any questions or you got anything that you'd like to ask us, leave it in the comments, and we'll certainly let you know what we're doing or what we have done. But it ain't the answer; it's just our answer. So, well, this is no longer our fat side of the life.
In front of the bleachers.